The gospel reading today was very powerful. It was very powerful because it can, first of all, it signifies the breaking of a silence since the last prophet to the moment that Archangel Gabriel appeared to the priest Zacharias. There had been 400 years of silence, meaning that there was no sign or no prophecy, anything given from God. And this was broken with the incident that we heard today with the angel speaking to the priest Zacharias, the father of St. John the Baptist. You know, the fathers of the church, in different places, they warn about deception, because anyone of us who strives to connect with God, we are all vulnerable to deception. Saint Paul warns about that in the second letter to Corinthians and say, be afraid because the angel of darkness might appear to you as an angel of light. And we cannot say that at any point in our lives we are safe from that. Saint Siluan, the Athonite, a Russian monk who saw actually Christ in his lifetime, who witnessed seeing Christ right in front of him, he admitted towards the end of his life that he had fallen into deception 3 times, thinking that something was coming from above God where it wasn't. And he explained that when you see the Lord, when you have an encounter with the divine, you know. There is no way to doubt. There is no way. You just know. And he described that the metal and the magnet, they don't need any introduction in between them. They stick right together. Saint Simeon, the new theologian, also explains and says, an experience with the divine is something that you will feel in all 5 senses. On another note, St. John the Sinite, in the book, his famous book, The Ladder, he describes and says, if there is any fear, if there is any doubt, if there is any second thought, if there is any of that nature whatsoever, it's not from God. Moreover, if it is fear, it is not from God, because whenever God appears, the first thing that he takes away is fear. How many times in the Bible we have heard this line from an angel or from Christ himself? Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. That's the first thing. I'm saying all this because as we read the gospel, we tend to think that the Archangel Gabriel was somewhat harsh to the priest Zacharias. You will remain mute until all these things come to pass because you doubted my message, and I am Gabriel who stands before the throne of God. Because he knew when Archangel Gabriel appeared to him, he knew. And expressing this doubt, it was the consequence that came after. We do not have, I'm speaking about myself right here, a direct vision or an encounter with the divine like this. But through the church and the sacraments, we have a direct communication and connection with the divine. By receiving communion, we receive the uncreated God in material form. What greatest gift can be given to us besides that? So let's give thanks to the Lord. Let's also commemorate and praise and give thanks to Saint John the Forerunner, one of the greatest saints of our church. You know, sometimes he's misunderstood, because the idea that we get when if we read very fast the Bible, the idea that we get is that he was a harsh man, and his message was hard, and he was not making many compromises or any compromises at all. Yes, his words sound harsh. However, if we go back and read more carefully the Bible, we see that great crowds went out to hear his message and be baptized by him, because apparently he gave something to the people that they did not have. He gave them peace. He gave them comfort. He gave them consolation, something that the church gives to the people. But he was very harsh. He was very harsh to himself. And that's a great example for all of us, that if we want to be judgmental, we can be all judgmental we want to ourselves and judge ourselves harsh, because then we will realize that there is a lot of work to be done on our end, and therefore we're too busy worrying about others. So God bless you and keep you all. In case you didn't notice, we have a very distinguished parishioner coming back to the church today. Danny, welcome back. We're very, very happy to have you with us here.